There is a specific kind of isolation that happens when you are standing in a crowded room, realization dawning that no one around you sees what you see. Your aspirations, your choices, and your way of moving through the world exist on a frequency that others simply do not tune into. Human beings survived not through speed, but by belonging to tribes. Survival relied on shared norms. Deviance were a liability. This ancient machinery still runs inside us. The anxiety you feel is evolution pulling you back toward the safety of the group. The problem is that we inherited this machinery for a world that no longer exists. Our brains were wired for a time when the geography of a human life was small enough that everyone in a village could hold a complete map of it in their heads. Today, the instinct to draw your life according to someone else's map persists as urgently as hunger. When you choose a life that others cannot easily map, you commit to the exhausting task of deciding, 1,000 times over, whether or not to explain yourself to those around you. This pain is exactly the friction of ancient survival biology colliding with the reality of modern individual freedom. When someone says they do not understand your life, they are rarely making a neutral observation about a gap in their knowledge. They are expressing an inability to predict or contain what your choices mean for the story they tell about the world. We use understanding as a mechanism for power and orientation. We decode the things around us so we know exactly how to anticipate and respond to them. When your choices fail to follow the unwritten social grammar that others have learned, they lose their orientation. This loss of bearing produces a disorienting emotional reaction, often mistaken for concern, but actually closer to vertigo. Vertigo makes people want to stabilize. They will instinctively try to bring you back to the solid ground they recognize, deploying arguments disguised as questions or disapproval masked as worry. They are attempting to pull you back into a recognizable shape. Their confusion marks a limitation of their own imagination and lived experience. You are not responsible for expanding that limit for them. Modern culture prescribes a legible life, a predictable narrative of education, career, and stability. It flattens an organic existence into a straight line. This serves institutions. Predictable populations are easier to govern. Legibility maintains communities, but legibility is not truth. The legible life is designed for the statistical average. If your nature does not reduce to the median, the conventional path will not fit. You will require a different structural grammar. History is full of essential advancements in art, science, and social progress that were initially incomprehensible to the public. The artist working in a new form, or the scientist pursuing a contradictory theory, rarely makes sense to their contemporaries. Incomprehensibility is the required starting condition for any life that aims for genuine originality. This raises a question of scale. Is living an incomprehensible life just a sophisticated way of being selfish? We exist in webs of relationship. We owe our loved ones honesty and presence. We do not owe them compliance or the sacrifice of our genuine selves for the sake of their comfort. Love sometimes expresses itself as a refusal to let you be different from what someone else imagined. This love is real, but it can also function as a form of possession. You can hold someone's concern with tenderness while still walking the path they cannot follow. The danger of living outside expectations is that you eventually internalize the confusion of others. External voices of concern take up residence in your head and begin to mimic your own voice, running calculations of everything you have sacrificed. It is vital to distinguish between the two. Genuine self-doubt prompts reflection and growth. Internalized criticism, however, is just the echo of other people's confusion. The goal is to become rooted, developing the quiet confidence to consider a challenge to your choices and then set it down if it does not apply. Every human life is unrepeatable. You have this one experience of being alive in this body. When it ends, the urgent question will not be whether others understood your choices, but whether you actually showed up for your own existence. Palliative care nurse Bronnie Ware documented the most common regret of the dying. Across all cultures and contexts, it was this: I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. In the middle of a life, the fear of being misunderstood feels like a tribunal. At the end, the opinions of the people who could not understand you are revealed to be temporary and limited noise. This path requires a quiet, sustained courage, the daily decision to invest in a life that others cannot yet see. It is the decision to act in the presence of doubt, because the alternative feels worse. By inhabiting your own existence with honesty, you extend the vocabulary of what is possible. You will never know which quieter person is watching you live and finding the permission they needed to pursue their own path. Refusing to perform legibility is a continuous practice of integrity. It is the daily work of aligning your outer life with your inner reality, ensuring that when the counting is done, you are actually here for your own life.